Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. It is Andrew the Collector here with an update for Dinomorphia. As you guys probably know, in the past I've considered myself a control player, and I have really come accustomed to the Dinomorphia strategy. This isn't the first time we've had it on the channel, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. For those who don't know, the Dinomorphia strategy, basically their effects revolve around halving your own life points. So that way you can get their effects off. It's a trap-based deck. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start out with 3 Dinomorphia Thurzia. It's your main normal summon of the deck. When you normal summon her, or special summon her, you can set 1 Dinomorphia trap from your deck to your side of the field. Really good. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can banish the trap from your graveyard and special summon 1 level 4 or lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard except itself. You definitely want to run 3 of her. And the other one that you want to run 3 of is your only other Dinomorphia main deck monster is Dinomorphia Diplos. He basically has the exact same effects as Thurzia, only his first effect is that when he's normal or special summoned, he Foolish Burials a Dinomorphia trap card. Any Dinomorphia card. Which is a good thing because all their trap cards have graveyard effects depending on what type of trap card that they are. These are the only Dinomorphia main deck monsters that you have and the main sources for your fusion summons. So you definitely want to max out on 3 of these at all times, no matter what build that you have. And since it is a dinosaur deck, 1 militia miscellaneous. This card is at 1, unfortunately. Let's hope it comes back to at least 2 because it really is just that good. Dinosaurs aren't really doing a whole lot right now, so which is a shame because I really like dinosaurs, and I hope that Konami will bring this back to at least 2. And for Plan B or I guess C of this deck is I'm choosing to put in 1 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. There was a Dinomorphia deck that did get 2nd place, I believe, at a regional in, I believe it was South America or somewhere, but they were running 1 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and 1 Oviraptor. But I don't really think Oviraptor is that necessary, mainly because you want to commit your main normal summon to Thurzia, and Ultimate Conductor is just a beast of a monster, and a good thing to bring out if you play through all your opponent's interruptions and negations. You just slam him on the board, clear your opponent's field, and then hopefully swing it for game. And that's it for the monsters. No other hand traps, because you want to make room for all the other cards in your deck. So let's get into the spells. It's a dinosaur deck, so we're running 3 Fossil Dig. It's Fossil Dig. I really don't understand why you wouldn't want to run this card. It's your main searcher, and it's not once per turn. Along with our other searcher, 3-Pod Duality. We do not special summon during our turn, like 99% of the time, since the fusion cards are trap cards, and one of them can only be activated during your opponent's main phase. So yeah, Duality, extra consistency, and hopefully can also help bait out any negations. And that's it for the monsters and spells. Let's get into the traps. There's a lot of them. My favorite of the deck is, and probably the best one in the deck, is Dinomorphia Frenzy. During your opponent's main phase, pay half your life points and fusion summon 1 Dinomorphia monster from your extra deck using only 1 monster from the deck and 1 monster from the extra deck as fusion material. Really good card, and its graveyard effect is that you can, during either player's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and for the rest of their turn, you do not take any effect damage. Obviously, since you are going to be paying half your life points for all of your Dinomorphia cards, you want protection for your life points. So the normal trap cards have graveyard effects to protect you against effect damage, and the counter trap cards help you protect against battle damage. But the battle damage ones is only 1 at a time, whereas the effect negation will protect for 1 card will protect you for the entire turn. I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball for it. I think that this deck would be eons better if the counter trap helped with protection against battle damage for the whole turn for 1 card, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. And then 3 Dinomorphia Domain. It's pretty much the same thing as Frenzy, except you Confusion summon from the deck, hand, or field. Whereas this one is you only use 1 from the deck and 1 from the extra deck. So you can choose which one you want to max out on, but I choose to max out on all of them because there are times when I set both of them. I activate one, it gets Ash Blossomed, and I activate the other to at least continue my plays to get out my main boss monster. Now for the second or I guess third best trap is the counter trap card Dinomorphia Impact. When you activate this, when a monster effect is activated, while you control the Dinomorphia card, pay half your life points to negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that monster. And also, whenever you take battle damage this turn, the damage you take the damage taken becomes half your life points at the time. So yeah, really good. And like I said, its graveyard effect is protecting against a battle damage. This one is the best counter trap card, mainly because let's say you have Frenzy face down. You try and activate it. Since it is sending from the deck, they can Ash Blossom it. You can also activate this to negate the Ash Blossom, since you are technically controlling a Dinomorphia card. So yeah, that's why I max out on it. But if you have Domain and Frenzy, you don't necessarily need this if one of these gets Ash, because you can just activate the other one and then save this for later on in the turn if you need it. But yeah, again, run 3, don't want to run any less, mainly because of the hand traps. And I'm running 2 Dinomorphia Sonic. I'm only seeing people run one of this. It's basically the same as Intact, because except it's for spells and traps. And the downside is after the negation resolves, you have to destroy one of your Dinomorphia monsters. So unlike Intact, that's why Intact is better, because it doesn't have that clause. But for this, it is kind of a handicap, but at the same time, if you time it right and destroy one of your either your Thursia or Diplos, you can use its destruction graveyard effect to bring out the other Dinomorphia monster if it's in your graveyard. So yeah, if timed relatively well, this is both a trap or spell negation plus a graveyard recursion card all in one. Can't go wrong with that. And for the one-ofs, one Dinomorphia Brute. It's basically a Icarus attack, pay half your life points, destroy a Dinomorphia monster you control, and one card your opponent controls. Good spot removal if you need it in a pinch, but I only run one of it because you don't need more than one. And then our Graveyard Revival, Dinomorphia Alert, pay half your life points, special summon up to 2 Dinomorphia monsters from your graveyard whose total level equals 8 or less. So basically this, you activate this, and it's also non-targeting. So if you activate this, you can target either 2 or 1 of your level 4 Dinomorphia monsters in your graveyard, or one of your fusion monsters. And like I said, it doesn't target, so even if they try to chain with Call by the Grave to take out one of your monsters, you could just get out any of your others that are in the graveyard too. And that's it for the Dinomorphia trap cards. Let's get into the regular trap cards. One of which is one of my neat techs in the deck. I mean, it's gotten more popular, but ever since this card was released, people have considered it a Dinomorphia card. Pay half your life points, special summon 1 Supreme King Zark from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, but it has its effects negated. And it returns to the extra deck during the end phase of the next turn. And so yeah, that's really good if you need it for a good defense, because Zark does have 4K body on both of its stats, but its real reason why you run this is because while this card is in your graveyard and you control Zark, if your opponent activates a spell or effect, you banish this card from your graveyard and Zark from your side of the field to special summon one of each Pendulum Dragon, Xyz Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon from your hand, deck, and or graveyard. That is absolutely nuts. And I'll get into the ones that you want to run when we get into the extra deck, but you definitely want to run this in any Dinomorphia card. And now for the new card, Iron Thunder from the newest set, Phantom Nightmare. When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated on the field, pay half your life points, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then destroy any other card in the same column as the destroyed card that the destroyed card was in that are in the monster zones or spell or trap zones. This can be kind of a double-edged sword, so you got to be really careful. It's a counter trap card, which can basically negate anything that you want that activates on the field. But the counter is that it also destroys every card that is in the same column as the card that was destroyed, including your own cards. So let's say they activate a card that's in the same column as your boss monster, and you use this to try and negate it, If the monster gets or the card gets destroyed, so does your boss monster. So you got to be really careful with this, but it is definitely necessary at a 3 of, because you want to have extra negation when you can. Even though we have Solemn Judgment, which is at 3, and also in the deck, by the way, sometimes Solemn Judgment isn't enough. You need extra negations in the form of Iron Thunder. But you can, unlike Solemn Judgment, you can play around with the ratios with Iron Thunder, but Solemn Judgment is just a necessary 3 of, no matter what in this deck, or basically any deck that can utilize traps. Basically pay half your life points, negate a spell, trap, or summon up, or normal or special summon of a monster. What is not to love about Solemn Judgment? It was banned at one point for a reason. This has got the Fanatic's one of his favorite cards, if not his all-time favorite card, aside from Blue Eyes, and I definitely don't want to run any less than 3 of it. 2 summon limits. Since Goes in Match, Rivalry, and there can only be 1 are at 1. This is the next best floodgate that you want to run. Sure, you could run Cave of the Super Ancient Orgasm, but you're basically hurting yourself at the same time. Yeah, and you basically don't summon more than twice per turn anyway. So yeah, and this can definitely hurt a lot of cards or a lot of decks in the meta. And probably the biggest spice of this deck is going to be Fair Flame. The deck that can utilize this card better than any others. The only other exception I think that can utilize this card is Heroes, considering that they have cards that pay their life points more often than not. Scott tried this like years ago, and it actually did work. So for those of you who don't know what Fair Flame is, if the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls is higher than your life points, make your opponent shuffle face-up cards that they control into their deck, except monsters with 0 attack, so that the combined attack of the remaining monsters they control become less than equal than your life points. This deck, like I said, pays half your life points, so most of the time you're going to have life points that are like 500 and below. And if you activate this and after blowing through their negations, you basically wipe out their whole field. It's absolutely amazing. The only downside is that Yubel is starting to make a bit of a rise, and this really doesn't do anything because, like it said, you shuffle back all monsters except for those that have 0 attack, which Yubel is. But if you hold out and they get out monsters with actual attack, exceed summoning, this can still come in clutch. But yeah, I'm only running 2 because 3 can be a bit cloggy. I know it may seem a little counterintuitive, but also remember it's not once per turn. If you have 2 of these face down, you activate 1, shuffle their field, but if they somehow make a comeback the same turn, activate the other, and they're pretty much screwed. And that is it for the main deck. Let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. So first off, we are going to start out with 3 Dinomorphia Cantargina. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. 4,000 attack. Its requirements are 2 Dinomorphia monsters with different names, and it loses attack equal to your life points. So basically, like I said, having your life points, she'll gain her attack back. It's a pretty fair. It's a pretty fair balance. But during the main phase, Quick Effect, you can banish a normal Dinomorphia trap card from your graveyard, and this card's effect becomes that monster's effect. And its last effect is that if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard to your side of the field. Yeah, really good. So yeah, the basic strategy is that if you have Domain on your side of the field but you don't have Frenzy, activate Domain, get her out. Same turn, use her effect to banish Domain, to fusion summon her and another Dinomorphia monster to get out your big heavy boss monster, Dinomorphia Rex Term. This is your end game and your overall win condition. Your opponent cannot activate effects of monsters that they control that have attack greater than your life points. If it isn't obvious, that is why we pay half our life points with all of our cards. And its quick effect is that once per turn quick effect, you can pay half your life points, and all of your opponent's monsters' attack become equal to your life points. So if your life points are low enough, you can basically board wipe their attack to become 150 or 125, especially when they think that they can attack over some of your stuff. Yeah. and its effect is pretty much the same thing as hers, except it's a level 6 or lower Dinomorphia monster, so you can basically get her back. So if you have both of these out in the field and your opponent activates Regeki or Black or Dark Hole or something, use his effect to get her back, and use her effect to get one either of your level 4 main deck monsters. And then just continue to replace from here. And hopefully, if you have Frenzy or Domain, then you use her effect again to, fusion summon to get out another copy of your Rex Term and basically start from square one. Only you have more setup for next turn if you revived your Thursia. Yeah, definitely run 3 of it. Like you guys know, in the past, I am a Mystic Mine player. And this is basically a pseudo Mystic Mine for the field, and I love it. I'm not even going to really get into this fusion monster. It's literally only here for fusion material for Frenzy. I've literally never gone into this in the entire time I played with this deck. But you want to run 3 of it because it is essential for fusion summoning. Now off to the targets for the Zark trap card. Obviously, 1 Supreme King Zark. It's Zark. You special summon it out with the trap card. It's a 4K body for at least a turn. If for some reason your opponent passes, you can still use it as a body next turn to get over something. But then remember, the condition of the trap card is that it goes back during the end phase of that turn. So kind of play it strategically. Now for the targets of its banish effect, I'm running 1 Starving Predapower Fusion Dragon, 1 Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and the best one, Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. These 2 are mainly the targets because they are good beat sticks. You literally can't use his effect because it only happens when it's fusion summoned. The first one only happens when it's fusion summoned, but its second battle effect can be okay to get over some pesky stuff, but you mainly use it for its body. Crystal Clear Wing Dragon is the only good target, mainly because you can use its effects. Its first effect is a quick effect. When a monster effect is activated, you basically make this card unaffected by monster effects for the rest of the turn, and it gains attack equal to the monster's effect that it linked to. And its second effect is that it's a spell or a trap negation once per turn. And it's a 3K body. What's not to love? Get all 3 of these out, plus Dinomorphia Rex Term on the field. Your opponent's going to have a really hard time. Yeah, so that's those are the targets for the Zark. Now off to the last 2. 1, Lingaribo, the Iblock. You still got to respect it. It may not be as big as it once was, but I'm still afraid of it. So yeah, if they Iblock you, just go into this and you have a trap card negation. And then our last spot is 1 Evil Zor Lagia. It's a Solemn Judgment on legs. What's not to like? You could go Dolka, but I prefer Lagia because I'm more afraid of board wipes like Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm and all that. Off to the side deck, Lava Golems. Even though Thursia is our main normal summon, a lot of the times we don't necessarily rely on it as long as we have Frenzy and Domain in our hand, or at least a way to get to it. So Lava Golem, especially to wipe out some of your opponent's interruptions, like Baron or Little Knight, is always a good choice. 2 Nibiru for against the combo decks. 2 Dino Wrestler Pankratops. It's back at 2. I'm so happy about that. It's a really hard card to out. Gets over Floodgates, over monsters, baits down negations, and it's searchable. Or, actually no, I lied. Ignore that. I thought it was level 6 for a minute. It's level 7. It's not searchable, but it is still a dinosaur monster. There is some synergy to the theme. 3-dimensional barrier. This is more necessary than ever, especially with the voiceless voice running around and a bunch of those turbo synchro decks. It may not do a whole bunch against Lynx, but you definitely don't want to run this deck without it. There have been points where I have considered main decking this in this deck, actually, but I have yet to run into a situation where I have wished I did that. 3, not so evenly matched. It's evenly matched in case you know that you're going to go second. And then 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance for those pesky Runic players. And yeah, that is the deck profile. Thank you for tuning into our page again. If you like this deck, please comment down below what you guys think. If you have any changes that you want to make to the deck. And please let us know if you have any further ideas for any other future videos or deck profiles that you want us to do. As always, this is Andrew the Collector. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell down below for notifications, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.